I've got my McCoy over here and Nick Kramer in the back, and then Alyssa Johnson and Brian Lowe both on Zoom with us here. So welcome to all of you. Welcome folks on Zoom. We've got about 30 people online zooming into the room. Can everyone hear me okay on Zoom? All right, great. Thanks so much. So just to kick us off, I want to welcome a couple folks to welcome you and open the evening. To kick us off, I would love to welcome up our Milton on the Move chairperson, Jessica Gorling. Jessica, come on up.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming. Thank you everyone up here. So I just wanted to thank everyone. I wanted to thank the
I can't fix. I don't know.
Hybrid world.
Hybrid. We're all learning. This is
all
all
learning.
new to us, right? So I had a few things I was going to say, and I wrote them down. I was going to be very professional. But on my way here, I picked up my son, Philip, and we were driving through town. And I said, Phil, I'm not going to be home today. I'm going to be at the Milton on the Move forum, so I won't be home for dinner. And he said, that's okay. He's 11 years old. He said, that's fine. Dad's there. I'm good. And he said, but what do you do there? What is this Milton on the Move? And I said, it's awesome. We all come together as a town. We all share ideas. We share.
We're back. Thank you, Jessica. And thank you for putting yourself on the line as the chair of this process and taking the lead with us. Really appreciate it. And next, Council on Rural Development, we're a neutral facilitator community process, but we only work where we're invited by local leadership. And so I want to bring up, where did Don go? Don Turner, the town manager of Milton, to share what he's excited about the process.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Jen.
Don.
Thank you all very much for being here tonight. We greatly appreciate your involvement and all of you as well. I do want to recognize Brian and Jenna and Nick and Margaret for all their work. We as a town, we approached the select board, and the select board was very gracious to want to take on this process, but it's not a process that's for the town. It's a process and project for the community. And we're excited to work with these great people. They're very professional. They're very great facilitators, and we're going to see that tonight in action. But more importantly, they are the conduit. They will bring your ideas and thoughts to a visiting team that I got to meet, and many of you met last time, to help us maybe make some of these ideas and projects become a reality. So I want to thank Amy Rex and the school district for really partnering with the town to make this possible. But I do want to especially thank Brian, Jenna, and Nick, and Margaret. So thank you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. And Milton is a great place, like Jessica's son said. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I know many of you have lived here a long time, and but we can make it better. So thank you very much for being here, and together we will move Milton forward. So thank you.
Thanks, Don. All right, and finally, before we dive in, so we are living in a strange time right now, where an unpredictable time, let's just say. And so our executive director, Brian Lowe, would love to be in the room with you all tonight, but he is stuck at home just down the road in Burlington, and he's going to join us to just say a few words really quick. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jenna, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're great.
Great. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Don. Thank you, Jessica. It's really been a great process so far. A really good turnout at the first event between the folks in person and on Zoom. And again, tonight, it's a hybrid event, as you can tell. I am very sorry not to be there in person. I've got some folks quarantining in my home, and so I'm not able to come, kind of a sign of the times. Especially since I'm not in person, I really want to keep my remarks brief. Just Jenna mentioned that we're the Council on Rural Development. We are an independent and nonpartisan organization. We don't have an agenda for Milton. And in fact, we started our very first meeting in Milton by acknowledging that everybody in the room knows more about Milton than we do. Yet we do know how to run a really good process. This team has run this process in 82 different Vermont communities. And we've had so many visits because the process works. It helps elevate voices from across the community, brainstorm ideas, prioritize those ideas, and then translate them into action. We've seen communities enjoy a lot of success as a result of these processes, whether that's building a new childcare center, renovating existing buildings, creating new community spaces, or building a stronger sense of community. And every town is different, and we're really excited to see what Milton decides to do tonight. We did have this huge community discussion on November 17th, brainstorming ideas, and it's a lot of ideas. Jenna is going to talk about some of the detail around how we have looked at those ideas and tried to come back to you with some concrete, specific patterns of how those ideas emerged and how we're going to ask you to prioritize those tonight. And it really is a tall order to leave the meeting tonight where we have dozens of ideas at the outset with just 3 clear priorities for Milton. I'm going to turn it over to Jenna in a moment to talk more about that process and how we want to run that tonight. But I think there's one kind of really vitally important thing to communicate, and that is that what you decide, what you define for your community's future is the key of this process. There's nobody coming from Washington, D.C. with a solution to challenges that Milton has, right? The solutions are embedded within the community. And we have seen time and again, communities that come together, set clear priorities, are able to make really significant change over a really limited period of time. So thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for participating in this process, whether in person or on Zoom. And thank you for your patience. I know it's a tough time for many, a really challenging time for businesses and families, but thank you for putting yourself on the line for Milton tonight. Over to you, Jenna.
Great. Thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate it. All right, so let's dive into the agenda for the night. Let me just quickly say, so folks on Zoom, people in the room, our goal is that you're all able to participate in the same way. So the way we have this set up for people on Zoom, I promise I'm going to stop talking a little bit and mostly we want to hear from all of you, but just some logistics. When we dive into kind of hearing from folks on Zoom, just use the raised hand function to let us know that you want to chime in. I'll be kind of going back and forth between calling on people in the room, calling on people on Zoom. Let us know if you're having any trouble hearing people in the room, but hopefully we'll be able to hear each other loud and clear. The last thing on Zoom is just if you look at the participants, you can find LCA TV. Those are our wonderful friends at Lake Champlain Access TV. That will give you the best view kind of into the room of who's speaking at any given time. Buddy's on the camera and he's going to be kind of moving around and following speakers in the room. The MHS library tile is the view of the full room here tonight. You can right click or find the little 3 dots on LCA TV and you can pin that view if you want to kind of follow along within the room. But we can see all of you when you speak, so feel free to chime in anytime. The last thing on the Zoom is just we can't see chats. And so if you want to weigh in on the conversation, please feel free to raise a hand and chime in. Use the chat with Alyssa if you're feeling like if you can't hear, if you're having some kind of technical difficulty. So that tool is there for you, but we really want to hear from you in the conversation too. So where we are tonight. So last month, think back to November 17th, we had a series of forums across the whole community on 6 topics that Milton residents chose the month before. So several of you were in that conversation. We brought residents together from all different parts of the community, business leaders, school leadership, students, brought them together to say, what are the important issues that you want to discuss in Milton today? So they kind of set the agenda for the conversation. November 17th, we heard from around 120 or so Milton residents in all those different topics to say, what are the assets, what are the challenges, and what are your ideas for the future? If you participated in those forums, great. If not, that's fine. We're all a part of the conversation now and appreciate you weighing in at this stage. We then also got input. We had a lot of survey input online from Milton residents. We also had a student forum here at the high school where we heard ideas from younger members of the community. And then we had a separate forum with the equity and inclusion group that Wilmer here leads. So we've been trying to really reach out and hear, like, what are all the ideas from folks in the community? We had, I don't know what it ended up being, like 40 pages of notes and ideas that we've distilled down into the ideas that you're seeing here on the wall behind us. So tonight, the idea is to go from that list of all the potential actions to what are the 3 actions that Milton residents want to take today. The way we're going to get there, we're right here, overview and logistics, points of vision, brainstorm. So we are going to take 1 second. That steering committee that met back in October, they decided it might be really nice to just take a step back and just have a quick conversation about vision. if we accomplish the things that we decide tonight, what does that look like for Milton? Where are we headed? What are the things that we want to see for the future of our community? Nick will lead the very quick conversation to get some kind of vision points for the future. We'll do that first. Then we're going to dive into these ideas. We're going to read each of them out loud. The ideas that you're seeing on your sheet, that's what we heard from you, from your neighbors, from community members, from students. We've done our best to kind of capture them here, but we will have a chance to check in and make sure we're not missing anything. We're actually then going to go to a quick gut check vote. So once we review all of them, we're going to do a quick vote to vote down to 8. People in the room will vote, people on Zoom will vote, and we'll describe how that works when we get there. Alyssa's going to help describe that. We'll add those together and we'll bring those 8 back to you. Then we've got a big chunk of time here. You'll see championing priorities. What that means is we want to hear from all of you. What's most actionable today? What's most impactful? What are the things that people aren't addressing now? I mean, you might look at this and think, you know, we're already working on that idea. What we really should do is this other one. And you'll have a chance to weigh in and say that. So that's championing priorities. Ultimately, in the end, we're going to vote down to 3 priorities for Milton. We'll do another voting round with both online and in the room. We'll close. And then at the end of the night, we're actually going to ask if folks are willing, we hope many of you will be, to sign up for task forces that'll work on those things. So our goal is to come out of this meeting with what are the things we want to work on today and who is interested in working on those things together. The next meeting, January 12th, make sure that's on your calendars. That'll be the final meeting in the Milton on the Move process. And that's the opportunity to say, with these ideas that we've decided on, what are the first steps that we need to take to get to work? And we'll facilitate conversations to build an action plan. And we'll bring another team with us of folks that can provide maybe funding, maybe technical support, expertise to help move those things forward. So that's where we want to land tonight. I think what we'll do is shift to thinking about I know it's tempting to want to dive right into the action, and we will get there, but let's take a second. Nick, do you want to lead a conversation to think about some points of vision as we think about where we're headed?
Sure. Thanks, Jenna. Hey, everybody. Folks on Zoom, can you hear me okay? Nice. Nice. It's kind of a miracle that this all works, to be honest. And a shout out, I don't know, there's some folks in the room. Big appreciation to the Milton High School and the library for letting us use this space. This is really cool. So yeah, I'm Nick Kramer. I'm also part of the team at VCRD. Like Jenna kind of teed it up, but what we want to do here for a second is something a little different. If you came to the forums last month, you probably heard one of us at some point say, this process is all about action. And if you didn't come to the forums, or you didn't hear that, you probably will hear that by the end of the night. And the reason we sort of stress that soundbite is because it really bears emphasizing that this whole initiative, Milton on the Move, as fun as it is to come together in a room and listen to each other talk, is really about driving towards granular, actionable things that can be driven forward by local community members. And so, like Jenna just described, that's the bulk of the meeting tonight, is really getting into the ideas that were shared at the last forum and then through survey input in the last month and working through a conversation to prioritize. And you can see those up on the wall. But this vision conversation, which is going to be brief, we've got about 15 to 20 minutes, is distinct in that, at least the way we use the word vision, we're thinking of something at a much higher altitude. So if develop an indoor hockey rink is an idea, something a task force could really drive towards, and challenging, but there's sort of actionable steps along the way. A corresponding point of vision for that might be something like, I envision a future Milton where there are indoor and outdoor recreation opportunities in all seasons for residents of all ages. Something that's kind of a broad, aspirational, 10,000-foot goal that can really serve as a guidepost, both for the task forces that emerge from this process, but also for other municipal initiatives. Or if you're Don Turner and you're considering a new municipal initiative, it might be really nice to have this snapshot coming out of a global pandemic. What did a pretty non-significant cross-section of the population non-trivial cross-section of the population.
And not non-significant.
Yeah, that's the wrong, my double, triple negative sometimes. A significant group of people, what do they think, what do they want for the future of town? So that's kind of the rationale behind this. And I don't want to take too much more time teeing it up. I'd like to get into it, but does anybody have any questions about kind of the distinction between ideas or points of vision? Going once, going twice on Zoom. Okay. Well, then let's get right to it. So the way this is going to work is we're just going to collectively brainstorm popcorn. Please raise your hand, your flesh and blood hand if you're in the room. If you're on Zoom, you can raise your Zoom hand. That's probably going to be easier than me trying to track down folks in different tiles. Let's just generate a list of points of vision, things that if all goes well in the next 10 years would be true about this community. And they don't have to be things that are currently true, but they could be. They could be, we want to build on assets that we currently have, right? So there's sort of no wrong answer here. And what's going to happen, one of our team members, Katie in the back, is going to be taking some really diligent notes. We'll capture everything that's shared tonight. We'll turn that into a survey, an electronic survey that will reflect back to every participant, certainly here, and then also work to broadcast across town so that more people can weigh in and really sort of help collectively shape this state. So who would like to get us started? Does anybody have a point of vision for the future of Milton? Folks on Zoom, anybody? Yeah, in the back.
I like yours. I like your vision.
Oh, about recreation? Yeah, so would you mind restating it? I'm sure you can do it better justice than I do.
It might also help in the room to, if you're willing and able to stand and could you just state your name, please?
My name's Dave Nampy. I don't know if I can restate that any better than what you did, and I can't remember exactly what you said, but it was basically a vision of a community that it have recreational recreational facilities and places for people to do those in all year long, all season. I think that's that's one of the good visions I would like to see.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah.
I'd like to add to that, that those facilities offer opportunities for people of all ages
Okay.
in our community, so that there are meeting needs of many different kinds of recreation.
Yep.
And as you said, all seasons.
Great.
That gets me to a different vision that I was thinking of, and that is
Go ahead.
I envision a town where there's a high degree of community involvement. And so that could be recreation, that could be events, that could be committees and task forces, people contributing in some way or another, or being involved because it's fun.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Folks on Zoom, just a quick sound check. Are everybody hearing folks in the back okay? Yep, thumbs up. Awesome.
You see Karen's hand there?
I cannot see Karen's hand. Karen, why don't you
Karen.
go ahead?
Oh, there's two Karens I see.
Our hands
I
showing
put
up.
Karen with my hand up. Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead.
I envision a town where people want to stop on their way through and actually want to get off the interstate to visit.
Great. Thanks, Karen.
Mhm.
Other folks on Zoom? Yeah, I see Lisa Reese. Please.
Hi there. So I know that we always say, we want to be, when you're in a business, you want to be an employer of choice. And there's always school of choice. I'd like to see Milton be the town of choice, meaning that when you think Vermont, you think Milton is the place that I want to live.
Nice. And you're hired as marketing director. Thank you.
You got Heather on.
Great. Thanks, Jenna. Heather, go ahead.
Hi, I'm more concerned about safety, especially for the children. I would like to see improvements for the roads, the shoulders of the roads, and where the kids go for bus stops. We live near the 1-lane underpass, and there isn't currently a safe bus stop for our child. And where we need to go to the bus stop right now, there's no shoulder. It's a very narrow road, and it's not all that safe. So I'm concerned about safety for children and our roads.
Great, thanks, Heather. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but if I were to try to sort of rephrase, so a future Milton with increased pedestrian and traffic safety, does that feel true to what you were saying?
Especially as it ties into the school.
Okay, got it. And I think Katie's meant that. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
I am Frank Fahey, lived in this town for 30 years. I see where on our list here, we have expanded alternative energy and climate change related type of things. I see these solar farms being built all over the place. And I haven't heard anything mentioned about in our general area. I think that would be a great step in the right direction. And also, I'd like to be involved in the location of the EV charging stations and things of that nature. I think we as a town could be the leader in Vermont for this whole thing.
Okay, great. The future Milton that is a leader in alternative energy.
Yes.
All right, great. Yes.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Romero, and I'd like to develop a downtown core for Milton idea.
Me too.
So we have like a place where everyone can go to, but it doesn't get overdeveloped everywhere, but also where it's like small and local businesses and farm-to-table restaurants using local food from in the town or nearby areas.
Gotcha. So Milton with a thriving downtown. And I want to be sure we're not short shrifting our impending conversation getting too granular, but I think that's great. A thriving downtown. Folks on Zoom, anybody with a hand up that I'm missing?
Got Henry here, Nick.
Henry, go ahead.
Hi there, yeah, this is Henry. The earlier suggestion about a place where people would want to pull off and go to, I was going to say something similar, but we'll just call it where Milton becomes a destination.
Okay.
I think it's pretty much the same that the lady said earlier, but that's the way I phrased it. Thanks.
Milton, the destination. Thanks, Henry. Other thoughts? Other ideas? It looks like Simone, maybe? Go ahead, Simone.
I'm interested in a version of Milton where it's age friendly, where residents are able to age in place for 7 years.
So you're breaking up a little bit, Simone, but did I hear right that you said a future for Milton that's trendy?
I thought you were saying aging friendly, like where
Aging
residents
friendly.
can age.
Is that-
Is that?
Yeah, aging in place.
Okay.
So,
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Simone. Got it. Anyone else with a hand?
Do you see Barry on Zoom, Nick?
I see Barry on Zoom. I'll come there. 1 sec. I'm going to go here in the back first.
Edward Robinson, Milton really needs their own interstate exit to get the traffic into town, so that businesses can thrive. So I think a interstate exit with probably a parking area.
Okay. So that sounds like maybe a really good idea that maybe would fit well into this conversation coming up. Would you say, is there a rephrasing in terms of a vision, like better integrated transportation access or better integrated to regional transportation corridors? Does one of those feel like what you're saying? Are you really specifically thinking that idea?
Yes.
Okay, well then we'll hold that thought because I think we'll come back to that. But thanks, Barry. I wanted to go to Barry on Zoom first, and then we'll go back here. So go ahead, Barry.
Yes, thank you. A number of the comments that have been made seem to be centered around building a strong infrastructure, which would include roads, busing, access from the interstate, as well as a strong network, internet, all of those things to build out our infrastructure throughout the entire community, which would then allow a number of these other things to take place.
Got it. So a Milton with strong and thriving infrastructure systems?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Barry. I see Sophia, but I want to come here first, I think, in green hoodie, and then we'll go.
I'm an advocate for making Milton a destination, because as we are growing our residential areas here, people from Burlington and Williston, Essex are moving up here. If we don't give them stuff to do here, they're gonna go somewhere else. And by making us a destination and growing, community area, it's gonna, it's gonna give them options to stay here.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm clear. Sophia, and then back to you. Sophia Danforth, please. Go ahead.
Hey, everybody. I'm envisioning a Milton where people know where to find the resources that they need and have places where they can find each other. I think I would like to see more connection in the community.
Great. Thank you, Sophia. Yes, sir.
William Peichel, my vision for Milton as being a thriving town that all economical and ages of this state want to come and live here. So that's kind of our general. We want recreation. We want our school systems to be top notch. We want everything good. Want the community that everybody in the state of Vermont, we encompass the entire culture of Vermont. We want that to be the town of Milton and everybody comes here.
Great, thank you. I'm seeing some nodding heads resonating. I see Buster Caswell. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Ernest Caswell. I was just reading some of the notes, and one of the things that I could appreciate more growth in, and it is growing, is the agriculture sector. Growing the farmers markets, everything that's listed agriculture related, even education, I think is just great. We've all learned how important agriculture is, and I think Milton can grow on that, what's going on now in its history, and really say, hey, we are about agriculture too. And our surrounding communities could also join in this effort and take the lead in part. So I appreciate that, and thank you.
Thank you, Ernest. Appreciate it. Other folks, anybody in the room? Going once? Yeah, in the back.
Lori Donna. We've been at many of these meetings before, and again, the theme seems to be echoed that we all want to see Milton to be a community that is desirable. And I think that we've just lacked the ability to take the steps to get there. And as we mentioned, the recreation, something that draws people for recreation. I think a building that's a multi-use recreation building / community center would be great. And it also can be an economic driver, because that's another thing that we've mentioned in meetings like this, along with the desirability, is the investment by commercial entities to come into the community to help us then fund other things that we want in the community. So I would echo that we do want a space that's a year-round space. We want the desirability for us to attract that for our schools, for our community, and the economic investment for our future.
Thanks, Lori. So am I hearing you're sort of voicing some support for a couple vision points that have been raised, and then are you maybe adding to a Milton that attracts economic investment and new business or something like that?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Alyssa, Brian, help me out. It's sort of hard to see hands here. Am I missing anyone on Zoom?
Yes, Casey.
Casey,
Yeah.
Please go ahead. Apologies.
Hi, everybody. Thanks. I appreciate everybody else's input of wanting to have a really awesome community and everything. And I think selfishly, one of the things I like about my little plot in Milton is I can just stay here on my little plot by myself. So I appreciate the opportunity to do that as well. So for me, sort of selfishly, I would love to see the infrastructure, but in particular the internet. Since I do work from home, having better internet would be amazing. And I know my neighbors feel the same. A lot of us work from home way out on Lake Road. So we would love that.
Thanks, Casey. And I guess if I could just, not to put you on the spot, but push a little bit more in terms of framing that as sort of a broad vision, because I think internet is one of the specific ideas. Would you say, is that sort of about a robust, thriving communications infrastructure? Is it about being a work at home destination? What sort of angle are you, or both?
Yes, thank you for that. I really appreciate being able to work from home. And I think that's, with COVID and everything, I think that's a trend, at least that I'm seeing from my cohorts. So for Milton to be an opportunity for people to be able to do that, I think is phenomenal.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other hands that I'm missing on the next screen, Melissa, Brian? Nope, nobody for now. Okay, anybody else? Yes, sir. Rick.
Richard Edwards. Everything that everyone's saying is really great ideas. My main focus is to do all the things to get the people to come here. We need to project how welcoming Milton is for all types of people, all faiths, religions, doesn't matter what they have going on. If you want to drive business, you need to drive the fact that Milton is welcoming everybody and that our doors are open to everybody in a constant manner at all times to the surrounding communities, where we want to just kind of steal people from Burlington and Essex and bring them here. There's no Church Street here. So to get the infrastructure and stuff like that, we need to have people say, well, why do I want to come here? Why do I want to move my family from where we are to go to Milton? And you have to push the welcoming scenario. You have to say, we're here for you as a community and as a family, not just as neighbors. So that's all.
Great, thank you. And just so, for the purposes of, this survey that we'll be building, and I want to make sure that we're capturing the sort of essence of all of that, those really important points. Would you say a Milton that is welcoming to all people?
Yes, to all people and businesses. It's not just the people, it's the businesses as well. Our doors are open for you to come here and plant your roots in our community and to grow your family.
Great, thank you. Appreciate it. I see a hand, but what's it?
It says Eric's iPad.
Hey, Eric's iPad, go ahead.
Hi, thanks. It's Meredith. I was just going to add that when I moved to Milton, the reputation that was told to me from some source was that Milton was the most affordable place to live in Chittenden County. I think that has positivity to it, but what I'd really love is if people saw that it was the best value in Chittenden County. And I think about what a lot of people are saying, and I think a lot about benefits. And not the features necessarily we need, but what that would mean for people. And I know our household does not stay in Milton for a lot of things. We need to leave Milton for things like childcare and activities. And we would love to stay in Milton for every day and keep Milton as our little borders. But at the moment, we're unable to because we cannot do all of our business and activities within the town borders.
Great, thank you, Meredith. So again, just if you were to phrase as sort of a vision point, a Milton that is recognized as the best value in Chittenden County, does that feel like it captures the essence?
That's it. Best value in Chittenden County. Get the most bang for your butt when you move and live here.
You get to work with Lisa in marketing.
I'm in marketing, so you might
well, there you go. Watch out, Lisa. I think I saw a hand, it sort of popped up, John Sparrow, maybe, if I'm getting that right? Sharrow, great. John, go ahead.
And John, you're muted.
Thanks, Brian.
I knew that. I think to find the ways to draw people to Milton is to go to a real estate listing. And people go there and the first things they look for is the school systems, transportation, services such as medical and things like that. And I think we need to look at those things that draw someone to that home are the same thing that will draw people to Milton. So if we kind of concentrate on those services that a community promotes, a realtor promotes to sell their home, we need the same ideas to promote Milton. Thank you.
So John, I'm going to do the same rigmarole here I've been putting other people through. If you had to sort of phrase that as a single vision point, how would you go about that?
I guess to generalize it is make Milton more desirable or improve the current services and expand on many services we don't currently have.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's helpful. Other folks in the room, yeah, we've got time for just a couple more, I think. So we'll go first here and then to the back.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Parento. I came in support of pickleball courts year-round indoor. But when you said hockey rink, I'm thinking of our family goes to hockey games every week for my grandson. And hundreds of people go to these hockey rinks. And so if that happened in Milton, people would need places to eat. People would have to have a way to get off the highway. They'd want to do something coming and going. So a little thing like that, I think, would generate. So I kind of arrive at a place as if you build it, they will come. And probably encourage that growth.
So it's fair to say, unsurprisingly, the hockey mom approves. A Milton that attracts and retains visitors from out of town or sports visitors, or does that feel like that captures the essence of your comment? Yeah. Let's go to the back. I think I saw in the corner, and then we'll go to you next.
My name is Mary Ann Golden, and what I would like to see is I think everybody wants this to be a destination place, but I think that's what we're here for. It's going to be a lot of hard work. There's a lot of hard work ahead of us, but when we do that hard work, it will be a destination. And I think of the destination as a result of what we're trying to do. And sometimes when I look at Milton, I see our good services, but they're kind of separated. We have the school system, the medical, the fire support. And I would like to, and I really believe that one of the first things that families or buyers of homes look at is the school system and what we do for children and families. And, you know, when I think of the school system, I would like our community, actually, I was a high school teacher right here in this building. I would like to have the businesses understand what or be more connected with our school so that we can do the things for children. And it would be a nice place for families to bring up their families, to take care of the elderly. But I sometimes see our wonderful services that we have here in Milton. We have a lot of good things going on, but they're not totally connected.
So maybe
how do we get that connection and really be a community?
Got it. So maybe a vision for a future Milton with connected services, including the school that well supports young
With a greater
families.
understanding of what we're all about. We're all about trying to make Milton a destination point. And so we all need to work together and understand each other.
Got it.
And
Thank you.
that's what I'd like to see a little bit more of.
I hear you.
You know, I think we sometimes are competing with each other.
Great. Well, I'm really cognizant that we're bumping up against our time here, and I want to turn over to sort of the rest of show here. I think I saw, is that Rich in the back? Could you take us home with just 30 seconds or less, a last vision point?
Yep, okay, so my name is Bob Brisson, born and raised right here, and everybody talks about a destination point, and they've been talking about it for 30 years. Obviously, we're not going to get a Target, not going to get a Walmart, not going to be a shopping center town. So what does that leave? A recreation. There's land available right now, as I'm talking, to purchase for that specific use.
Okay.
I personally own a piece of property right here in town that is no better spot for a new downtown Milton. So, you know, between the officials of the town and the planning, they ought to come up with a a visual conceptual idea and present it to the townspeople and say, hey, here's the core town of Milton, future core town of Milton, right smack dab into it. You have 4 or 5 parcels of land that is available right now. You have land available right now for that hockey rink. And I was a member of the very first hockey rink, hockey team in '74. 10 years later, we were going to build a rink. Never happened. Another 10 years went by. So here it is, 45 years down the road, and we're still talking about a hockey rink.
So I hear you loud and clear, Bob, and I think that's a great transition. I think we're getting in there to digging into these ideas, right? We got a long list. We just have a chance to sort of ping pong. So really appreciate that. And thank you all for doing this, for this exercise. I mean, this will capture all the notes and reflect back in a survey. Over to Jen. Sorry.
And Bob, I think you'll see some of those ideas reflected in here as we dig in. So here's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna shift. Thank you for sharing your vision points. As Nick said, we're gonna capture all of those for you, bringing them back to you next month. Some may resonate with you, others may not, and we wanna make sure that we get that right next month. So right now, here's what we think is useful to do. We've done these 80 times now, and we do find, rather than just kind of toss a piece of paper at you and expect you to go ahead and vote, we do find it's valuable to actually run through these ideas together. So we're gonna ask you, please, to help us read these ideas out loud, so that we're all on the same page as we go into deliberation and voting. People on Zoom, we'll ask for you to read as well. Alyssa's gonna share a link to the ideas list in the chat so that you'll have that in front of you. And also she's gonna pull up a slideshow of the ideas on the screen here. So we can read them out as we go. And Alyssa and Brian, we can't always see the hands on our screen, so you might need to let us know if we're missing a hand. Feel free to kind of chime in when I talk to Zoom. So we're gonna walk through these together. Just a reminder, these ideas are what we heard from you. They're ideas we heard from your neighbors, from community members. We've taken them and added up all the pieces of ideas into these kind of big picture buckets. There's 21 of them to walk through. They're all listed up here behind me. And then we will have a second to check in case we missed any key idea that isn't on the list here. So let's go ahead and walk through the list together. Would somebody like to start by reading the first one? Maybe someone in the room, and then we'll go to Zoom next. Yes, in the back.
You want me to stand up?
Yeah, sure. It's easier to hear that way. Thanks.
What's the first one? Improve transportation?
Yeah, first one.
I don't have my glasses, but.
We'll all do our best.
Identify and promote ways to increase transportation. Oh, I gotta get my glasses, I'm sorry.
Why don't someone else take the first one and then we'll come back? Yeah.
Improve transportation. Identify and promote ways to increase transportation options, such as expanding local public transportation routes and rides to Burlington. Consider and develop creative alternatives such as a local ride-sharing model as well as EV charging. A task force could explore the idea of a centrally located hub or transportation center to improve access to and use of public transportation options.
Great. Back to you in the back. Yeah, go ahead. Give you a longer one. Sorry.
Expand housing options. Many residents see a crucial need for more affordable, safe, and quality housing for people of all ages and income levels. A housing task force could identify strategies from new development to zoning changes and/or a housing fund to create a diversity of housing options in the community, including single-family starter homes. The group could also consider solutions to address agricultural worker housing and senior housing. A housing fund or trust could be a strategy to support new development or home repair. The group could also conduct a thorough review of the town's current zoning regulations to determine their alignment with desired housing options and craft recommendations towards policy or enforcement shifts.
Thank you so much. Somebody on Zoom, we can't see raised hands right now, but if you want to raise a hand and Alyssa could call on you, or just go ahead and unmute and chime in with this next one. Anyone on Zoom? Casey, go ahead.
Okay. Improve and expand pedestrian and bike infrastructure. Improve walk and bike infrastructure to make Milton safe, accessible, and enjoyable for pedestrians and bikers with bike lanes, paths, and sidewalk improvements, especially along Route 7. The group could explore traffic calming solutions to improve safety and reduce congestion. Increasing e-bike access and charging opportunities could help to encourage more biking in the community.
Excellent. Someone else on Zoom want to take the next one? So it turns out we can see raised hands when they pop up. So just let us know. Jennifer, go ahead.
Develop a downtown core for Milton. Form a task force to develop and implement a plan to create a central, walkable, and accessible downtown area for Milton. The group could draw from past initiatives and partner with regional and state experts to create a path towards an inviting and vibrant downtown core. The area could include a town green and walkable businesses and amenities that would serve both local residents and attract visitors. A task force could work to identify public investment opportunities as well as private investors and developers to help execute the community's vision over time.
Thank you. Someone in the room on the next one? Yeah, go ahead.
Ensure Milton is a welcoming community for all residents. The task force could form to focus on building a more welcoming community for newcomers. The group could create a welcoming committee and welcome packet to help connect new residents, strengthen their local networks, and share information. The task force could explore strategies to build a more safe and welcoming community, such as creating and sharing equity and inclusion trainings, promoting a more positive and caring reputation for the area, and hosting and supporting dialogue among community members. The group could explore a formal structure and staffing in the long term.
Okay. Someone else in the room on the next one.
Advanced career training and adult education. Identify opportunities for career advancement and ongoing education for youth and adults. This could include developing training and job placement opportunities with area businesses and manufacturers, free community workshops, and creative work-based learning opportunities. A task force could focus on celebrating the trades and sharing opportunities within the trades and in agriculture, especially with youth. Adult education opportunities could include career and job skills training, as well as other learning opportunities around language, music, and the arts.
Great. Thank you. Someone on Zoom for the next one?
We've got Karen with her hand raised.
Go ahead, Karen.
Hopefully my kids will be quiet long enough for me to read this. Expand access to out-of-school enrichment and programming. A task force could form to partner with the school and other local groups and organizations to identify gaps of out-of-school programming and activities for youth and find ways to fill those gaps and reduce barriers to access. The group could explore recreational programming, mentoring programs, internships, and employment opportunities, and other ways to support youth in connecting to the community.
Great. Someone else on Zoom for the next one? Another Karen.
Expand community events. Promote current event offerings in a central communications hub and plan an annual series of local events that could help to unify and connect the community. Events could include a townwide garage sale, a Taste of Milton event, a multicultural festival in the park, weekly concerts, a summer music festival with a diversity of acts, hockey on the lake, food truck events, pop-up mini golf or other local competitions. Events could help to bring vibrancy to the community, provide more opportunities for community gathering, and connect to youth.
Great. And I think I saw Lisa Reese with a hand up, and then we'll come back to the room.
I was just going to read.
Yes, please go ahead. Next one.
Okay. All right. Expand alternative energy and efficiency. Identify ways to improve weatherization and efficiency in Milton and help expand the use of alternative energy. This could include helping residents understand and access existing resources or finding creative models to bring alternative energy, such as community solar, to the community. A task force could also work on bringing EV charging stations to Milton.
Great, thank you. The next one in the room.
Yeah, go ahead. Improve and market Milton's identity. Some residents shared concerns about Milton's perception among outsiders and the impacts on community and school pride and ownership. A task force could form to engage the full community in renewing, reviving, and strengthening a Milton identity that shares positive stories and markets community assets. The group could then work to share Milton's story and assets in order to attract and welcome new community members, investors, and businesses. Okay. The next one, if you want to read that? Yes, sir.
Build a Milton Community Center. Develop a community center in Milton to serve as a gathering and event space, after-school hub, youth center, coffee shop, markers, space, community kitchen, and more. This space could help to connect across generations, provide a safe space to go after school, and offer activities for people of all ages, incomes, and backgrounds.
Thank you very much. Brenda, do you want to do this? Sure. Go for it.
Improve community communication. Develop a cross-sector and collaborative plan to better communicate information and events with residents. A task force could expand communications, resources, and avenues to include an online hub, bulletin board, and a print newspaper or newsletter to keep residents informed and connected about opportunities in events in the community.
Great. The next one, maybe somebody on Zoom for the next one? Somebody want to take this?
Develop an indoor hockey rink. Many residents shared an enthusiastic vision for a Milton community ice rink and expressed a need for more indoor winter recreation opportunities. A task force could form to explore the construction of a community rink, whether indoor or outdoor, which would serve local residents of all ages and draw area youth and families to Milton.
Great, thank you very much. Anyone else on Zoom for the next one? Karen?
Sorry, let's see. Recruit and support local businesses. Develop and implement a plan to attract more small and medium businesses to Milton. A task force could work with experts to develop a recruitment plan with strategies to attract businesses and investors, opportunities to highlight and market town assets, and incentives to support business startup or relocation. Milton residents of all ages are interested in seeing a movie theater, more restaurants, local and chain retail, more dining options, lodging options, a cafe, and more. The group could also consider strategies to support and promote local businesses through community events or campaigns like an I Love Milton local business discount card.
Great, thank you, Karen. Jenna, go ahead on the next one.
Build a recreation and fitness facility. Develop an indoor recreation facility to help expand year-round recreation and fitness options for community members of all ages and abilities. The facility could include a pool, a field house, pickleball courts, and a fitness center. The space could be available for public use and offer recreation and fitness programming for the community.
Excellent, and in the room for the next one. Would someone like to read that next one? I'll read it. Go ahead.
Enhance outdoor recreation. A task force could form to connect and advance outdoor recreation opportunities in the community. The group could focus on the development of hiking and mountain biking trails, lake and river access, and better connecting existing trails and resources. The task force could also develop a map and a brochure to better highlight local outdoor recreation resources. Additionally, the group could consider other outdoor recreation opportunities, such as paved bike paths, a skate park, a community park near Lake Arrowhead, or events and programs that showcase recreational assets.
Thank you very much. And the next one on this page. In the room. Maybe Ricky and then Don?
help connect individuals and families to resources and support. A task force could form to explore creating a full-time position with the town or other local organizations that could reach out to residents and young families and help connect them to resources and support. The task force could consider establishing programs or events to help build social connections, implementing a welcome baby program or a program to help connect parents to early education and care, family resources and assistance in parental education.
Don, you got an easy one there.
Beautify Milton. A task force could form to beautify Milton with creative flower plans, improve signage, and other strategies to enhance the aesthetics of the community.
All right, home stretch here. Let's go to somebody on Zoom. Buster, go ahead and take the next one.
Support local agriculture and food access. A task force could form to identify strategies to improve access to nutrition for all Milton residents and enhance local agriculture and local food options. This group could work to improve agriculture and nutrition education, especially for youth, and implement strategies to develop a local CSA and/or food cooperative. The group could also work to support and connect to local agricultural workers and to Milton's agricultural history.
Wonderful. It seems appropriate to stay online for the next one. Somebody on Zoom want to take that?
I can take that. Sorry, can't get my hand up.
Yeah, go for it.
Broadband, it's Meredith. Improve broadband connection. A task force could form to explore strategies to improve internet service. The group could help to collect data on existing coverage options and connect to state and regional resource providers to explore current broadband initiatives and opportunities. This group could help capitalize on the current swell of federal and state funding available to support broadband expansion and work to identify local strategies to ensure equitable access for all Milton residents. These efforts could be local or joined with neighboring towns into a regional effort, such as the Area Communications Union District, also known as PUD.
All right, thank you very much. And the last one, somebody in the room want to take that final?
I'll take that one.
All right.
Build a new high school. Milton community members, especially students, expressed the need for an updated high school that would better meet the needs of local youth and educators. Students working in an innovation class at the school have already started to work with architects to draft up possible designs that meet student needs, including more common spaces, a more aesthetically pleasing building, more light, improved traffic flow, and more. A community task force could form to collaborate with students and the school leaders to help carry out the students' vision.
Excellent. All right, thanks everyone so much, and thanks folks on Zoom for chiming in. So what we want to do right now, we're going to have a chance in a moment, once we do our first kind of gut check vote, to really dive into the 8 that we land on. But before we do that, I just want to be sure, sometimes we don't get it right. Is there anything here, a kind of big picture idea that's missing that you would want to add to this list, or did we get anything wrong? And folks on Zoom, feel free to chime in as well. Anything that you feel like should be on the wall that's missing now? We got it all right? Okay. Last on Zoom, let me just make sure I'm not missing any hands. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We've read through them all together. We've had a chance to kind of think as we're reading through them. We're gonna do a quick gut check vote, because it's hard to spend the next hour or so really diving deep into every single one of these. We want to get a chance for you to kind of whittle down, what do you think is most important today? Most important for the future of the town, most actionable, things that you feel like need new leadership to take them on. So what we're going to do is hand out 8, well, in the room, you've got 8 dots, and you can put them on anything you want up here. You can put 8 dots on one that you feel really strongly about. You can put 1 dot on 8 that you feel really strongly about. It's up to you. You could split your dots if you want, and just get a sense for, what do you think is most important today? Folks on Zoom, you're gonna get a link to a voting software where you also have 8 virtual dots. So you'll have the list, the same list that we're looking at here in the room on a software called Poll Unit. And you're gonna go through the list and use your dots in the same way. You could put all 8 on one, you could split them up. And just so you know, well, I'll let Alyssa kind of describe the details. So we're gonna go ahead and turn the sound off in the room so that Alyssa can describe to you all how we're gonna have you weigh in. We'll take a break for a second. We'll bring you back into the room to make sure we add your votes to the list as well. So
all right, welcome to virtual world. Hi everyone on Zoom. So we've now disconnected. Again, Jenna is coaching everyone. The fun of doing this online on Zoom is it's actually much faster. So in person, everyone's gonna get up and, as she said, literally go and stick dots onto the wall. We have a program called Poll Unit, and so that's gonna be how we're gonna vote. I'm going to go ahead, as she said. I see a hand up, and don't worry, we'll have plenty of time because I see multiple people in some rooms and we've got lots of options to go through. So if you've been able to use the chat, the link will go into the chat. You'll see when you get there, it's kind of, we'll list all those ideas that we read through in that PowerPoint. And next to each one will be open circles. You have the ability to put all of your votes onto one item. You could add more votes for an item you care more about. You could spread them out over 8 different items. The thing, like in the room, someone has 8 stickers, you will have 8 votes to distribute across the different ideas to vote. Then once we close the polling, those totals will be added to the totals in the room, and that's where we'll get our top 8 from. So option 1 is going to be that I'm going to go ahead and just put the link in the chat. If that works for you, awesome. If that doesn't work for you, we've got a website, we've got phone number options, so just hang tight. I'm going to put that in there so that some folks can get started, and then we'll go from there. All right, so Poll Unit link should be in the chat. If you have 2 people in a room, this does only allow 1 set of voting per device. So you have a couple of different options. If you have another device, we have that main Milton on the Move website. And I'll give you the address to get there. You can go there. There's a big vote button on that website that's live, and that will take you to that same poll unit. If that's not an option, we have a phone number you can call. So we want to make sure that everyone who's on this is able to vote. So again, if you're able to just follow that link in the chat, that's awesome. Then we also have the Milton on the Move website. To get there, you would type in bit.ly/Milton on the Move. That should bring you to the homepage, and there should be a vote button there that will also bring you there. I'll pause for a moment. If anyone's having any issues, you can chat me, you can unmute. We have plenty of time. Again, folks I can see are walking around the room, so we're in no rush and want to make sure all of your votes count. And yes, I am going to type the address into the chat. I see someone asking, and I will send it to everyone. So this is the alternate website with the vote button.